Hey folks, David Molnar here, your photography mentor. Today I want to talk about how you as a photographer or a freelance business owner, freelancer, gig worker, whatever, can take advantage of this COVID-19 stimulus bill that was just passed recently for $2 trillion, the biggest stimulus package ever in the history of the United States and probably anywhere in the world has just passed. And it's actually really good news for A, our economy, and B, for you as a freelancer. A lot of people were concerned that the small business owner or the freelancer wouldn't be able to benefit from this, but there's three really specific ways that you as a freelancer, if you're a freelance photographer like I've been for many years, then you can absolutely benefit from this. And there are a couple of ways that you might not know about until now, and that's what I want to make you aware of. So number one, there is going to be just like a stimulus check that's going to be given to you. In theory, it's going to be auto deposited into your account as long as you've filed taxes in 2018 and or 2019 taxes. I know many of you guys like me haven't filed my 2019 taxes yet, but you're going to get $1,200 per adult in your household, okay, or $1,200 per person, and an additional $500 per kid. Now, each house maxes out at $3,400, but if you're me, I'm married and I have 4 kids, so I'm gonna get $1,200 for me, $1,200 for my wife, and then I'm gonna get 2 of my kids are gonna get $500 each, and the other 2, well, it maxes out at $3,400 per household. In theory, that's going to be direct deposited into your account before the end of April. So that's good news, but that's not all, okay? There are a couple of other things. If you're a freelance photographer and or a freelancer and you can't do work right now, let's say you have a stay-at-home order in your state or your county, okay? You can't go out and you can't do photo shoots right now. You can't go solicit new gigs. You can't actually do work. The government is essentially stopping you from doing what you need to be doing to make an income for your family, regardless of whether you're playing music gigs or driving Uber or for Uber Eats or Shipt or whatever it is, or a freelance photographer. At this point in time, you may not be able to go and actually make work. And actually go and do work and make some money, right? That is not your fault, and the government recognized that. That's exactly why Trump signed this into the bill, where freelancers, for the first time that I'm aware of, ever can collect unemployment. Now, if you're like me, I don't personally want handouts for unemployment, so I've always been opposed to that in the past, but you have to understand in this context, okay, this is not your fault, and you need to take care of your family first. So if you can't go out and do gigs at the moment because of all the stuff that's going on with this COVID-19 pandemic, okay, then you might want to look into applying for unemployment. And so here's the good news. Number one, freelancers for the first time ever, because of this stimulus package, can apply for unemployment. Okay, that's brand new that I'm aware of, all right? And there's an additional $600 per week available to you for the first 4 weeks of collecting that unemployment. Okay, so that's good news, because whatever your state's regulations are and how much unemployment you can get per week, there's an additional $600 there. And if you're a freelance photographer, you've never been able to collect unemployment before, they're like, well, go get a job or whatever it is. Now's the first time that I'm aware of in history that you can do that. Okay, so that's cool, that's good, because that can help you keep up to date on your rent or your mortgage and put food on the table for your family, because I know that's the most important thing. All right, now number 3, this is kind of the big one. This is one that there is some gray area, and they're kind of they're rolling out more and more details on this. Okay, this is the the whole thing, the stimulus package, is called the CARES Act, okay? And then this thing is actually called the Payroll Protection Plan, PPP, all right? So what the government is trying to do is basically allow people to keep their jobs, and they're trying to help business owners to be able to keep their employees and keep on paying their employees, so that when this all blows over, that business can resume as usual, and so that there's not so many people laid off, okay? Because that would obviously be a very, very big problem. So the Payroll Protection Act is this in its nutshell. Now, I want to say this. I am not an accountant. I am not a lawyer. I am not giving you legal advice about your taxes or anything like that. This is just as I understand it, as I'm talking to my friends, my other entrepreneur friends, my accountant, my CFO, and as I'm reading a ton of articles online, this is the information that I know. Okay. Number one, there is a grant for up to $10,000 that you can apply, and I'll put a link below this. It's like an SBA.gov grant that you can apply for up to $10,000. That is forgivable, okay, which means you don't have to pay it back. Okay. Now there's a little bit of gray area for me. I'm not exactly sure what the difference is between that $10,000 grant and the forgivable loans. Okay. I'm sure I'll get more clarity as the next, probably in the next 24 hours. Okay. But as of right now, there is a $10,000 grant that you can get. Okay. And so that's for companies with 500 employees or less. That's me. That's probably you if you're watching this video. Okay. If you're a sole proprietor, this is also for you. If you're, a freelance photographer, if you are a photographer that has a few part-time assistants, this is for you. If you're a photographer that has a few employees full-time, this is for you. If you're like me, I'm a photographer. I do freelance photography gigs, and I also teach students inside the photo mentorship, and I have 8 full-time employees. This is also for me. It's for these small businesses. The government is saying 500 employees or less are small businesses. Okay, 500 employees sounds like a lot to me. But the point is if you're watching this video and you are a freelancer or a business owner, this applies to you as far as I understand. Okay? So, sorry for touching my face here. But what this means is that you can apply for the $10,000 grant, okay? But if you're like me and you have a bunch of employees, $10,000 isn't going to go very far into paying everyone's salary. So this is the Payroll Protection Act. And what that means is if, let's say you're a business, okay, and your payroll is $50,000 a month to pay your 10 employees or whatever it is, okay? So that each of them, so you can pay their salaries each month, okay? You can apply for a business loan with a bank, okay, with an FDIC insured bank. The government is backing this, and you can get essentially an interest-free loan. The interest is kind of not the point. You don't have to pay any payments for, I believe, the first 6 months. Some people have said 12 months. The point is you don't have to pay any payments right away. You can get a loan from a bank. The government is backing it. It doesn't have any, you don't have to have any guarantees, or you don't have to have any things like that whatsoever. And this loan will be forgivable so long as you use it to pay the things the government is trying to get you to pay, specifically payroll and your rent and your central business expenses, particularly paying for employees because it's the payroll protection plan. Right? So what you can do is if you have a $50,000 payroll or $10,000, whatever, the point is I'm going to use 50 for right now, right? If you have a $50,000 payroll, you can get up to 2.5 times your monthly payroll average for the past 12 months prior to February 15th, okay? So what that means is if your average payroll is $50,000, then you can get 2.5 times that as a loan from a bank, like this is your local bank we're talking about, and the government is going to back it. And as long as you use that money to pay payroll and you don't let go of your employees, you can pay like the rent. Like for instance, I pay rent here for my photo studio. As long as you use it for things like that are approved, then after 8 weeks, your loan will be forgiven, meaning you do not have to pay it back. Okay, so if I have a payroll of $50,000 a month, that means I can get a loan for $125,000. I use that to pay my employees for the next couple months, right? Because the government is saying, hey, listen, we know this is not your fault, small business owner. We don't want you to have to let go of your employees. We want you to keep business going, and hopefully this will blow over soon and you can get back to business. And this is a way to keep people without having to let your employees and your contractors go. By the way, this does apply for contractors. Like I have about 8 employees that are full-time, and I also have another 12 contractors that are like my graphic designers, my accountant, other things like that. So it includes all those contractors as well. Whatever your monthly payroll is, besides just W-2, it could also include 1099 as far as I understand. I'm not a lawyer or an accountant, but that's what I understand. Okay, so if whatever your total payroll is, whatever you're paying people on an average for the past 12 months prior to February 15th, 2020, that is the number that you can get 2.5x of a loan for, so that you can use that for the next couple months to keep people employed and try to keep business as normal as possible. And so if you do that, and if you use it to pay those approved expenses, we need to pay payroll costs, you can pay rent, or if you have a mortgage on a business building, you can pay for that. And payment for like utilities like gas and electric and water and stuff like that. If you use that loan specifically for those things, then it will be forgiven. Okay. Now there are a lot of stipulations. I'm not going to go into all that stuff. You can consult with your bank, with your accountant, and all those different things. But this is good news because if you're a freelance photographer or a business owner, number one, you can get that $1,200 stimulus check at least. Okay. Number two, Okay. If for some reason, you're just absolutely not able to do work, then you could collect unemployment for the first time ever. And there's an additional $600 a week for what I'm understanding is the first 4 weeks of collecting that unemployment. So that's good. You can hopefully put some food on the table for your family. All right. And the third thing is that you can apply for an SBA loan, right, under the CARES Act of the PPP, the Payment Protection Plan, to get a loan that is forgivable, that you don't have to pay back for 2.5 times your monthly payroll. All right. If your monthly payroll is $10,000 and you have 2 employees that you're paying $5,000 a piece to, as an example, then you could get a loan for $25,000. You use that to pay your company, pay your employees. And then after 2 months or 8 weeks, it will be forgiven and you do not have to pay it back. This is good news for freelance photographers because hopefully this will help you stay afloat. There's more information on this blog below. And I know there's a lot more details than that, but I wanted to give you a high level of how this stimulus package can benefit you as a freelance photographer, gig worker, Uber driver, freelance graphic designer, whatever it is. All right, so hopefully that's helpful to you guys. I'm David Molnar, your photography mentor. I love you guys. I want y'all to succeed. I know it's tough times. Let me know how I can help. I'll see you soon.